You are watching the Rayburn CyberHammer 700 series extension replacement video. In this video, we are going to replace a 700 series CyberHammer extension. So here we have the extension replacement kit. I'll go through the contents in just a minute here. You'll need this kit, of course. You'll need your CyberHammer, obviously. Nice things to have, ranging from nice to essential. Very nice to have is a digital caliper of some kind, something you trust to measure thousandths of an inch, or if you want to mark in hundredths of a millimeter, tenths of a millimeter, that's fine too. We're going to work in inches here because the CyberHammer is, the design is spec'd in inches. A small cutting tool of some kind is useful. You will probably need a tuning tip wrench. You'll definitely need a tuning tip wrench. And some kind of a paper towel. This is a shop towel, one of these blue shop towels. And so we're going to start out with, you could use a nose tissue, toilet paper. You could use a restaurant napkin or a fine silk cloth or glasses, microfiber cleaning cloth, whatever you have on hand. It's non-critical. So we're cleaning out the bores here. This is the bore. I'm going to use a lighter colored pointer tool here. You have bearing surfaces, a flat bearing surface on the back. The back is the side with the serial number, and the side with the word Rayburn laser engraved on it is the front, and that has a bearing flat surface on it as well. It should be cleaned. So you don't want to start out with any gunk in there. If you're replacing an extension, it's probably on a CyberHammer that's seen some use. So yeah, you want to clean that out. So the kit includes the extension assembly. This is the extension. Set that down. The extension includes the back bearing or back cap. This is a plastic material. It's actually a material called PEEK, P-E-E-K. This is a material that is used in knee replacement as a bearing surface. So there are people walking around these requiring this to be a durable material inside their knee right now, or other parts of their body. It's a medical plastic. This is as hard as bronze. It's bio-neutral, if that matters. It's right next to your hand, so it's a nice bonus. Very, very lightweight, which is something that we really like on the CyberHammer. So there's the back cap. It also has the back screw. This is a standard screw. You can get this at the hardware store, any hardware store in the United States worthy of the name. It's an SAE Imperial non-metric screw, unfortunately. So it should also be available internationally for those of us, our friends that aren't in the US. At a better hardware store would probably have one of these. It is a half-inch long, half-inch length, 1032 TPI button socket screw. So we use stainless. If all you can get is black oxide, plain steel, or whatever, it just needs to be 1032 and in the half-inch length with a button head. That's nice and round for your hand. So that goes in here. A quick note here. I do occasionally have comments from users in the field, and I've experienced it myself. If you get some of the lubricant, or whatever lubricant you're using, if you get that into the threaded hole here, if you get some lubricant in there, or on the screw itself, this screw can walk out due to some friction. Not fun. Not the end of the world, but not fun. If that does happen, you can use your shop towel, some acetone, or at least alcohol, some kind of a solvent in there. No solvent short of MEK or something like that is going to dissolve any of the finishes that we use. So just put some solvent in there, clean it out with a paper towel or compressed air. Do that a couple times and you're good to go. If you really want to be absolutely sure, use some medium or low strength Loctite or thread locker. The blue thread locker is usually what's recommended for this. And that'll do that trick. So back off the bunny trail. The other things this kit includes is 3 front bearings. You've got the back cap or back bearing. These are the 3 front bearings. There are 2 oversized and 1 spec size, which is in the 125 thousandths nominal range. A screw. This is the screwdriver that you'll use. It is a 1/8 inch hex Allen driver. If you have a dedicated 1/8 inch hex bit or something like that in a screwdriver, just as long as it's a good quality 1/8 inch, that'll work fine. But this is the one that we include in the kit. You also have some 3M Super Lube. This is a food grade synthetic PTFE paste. It's a great lubricant for trap work, for pianos. It does not break down. It is rated for use on food processing equipment by the FDA. It's a fantastic lubricant. It's safe to have around your hand. It, once again, doesn't break down. No odor, no smell, no taste. You could put it on your sandwich if you want. Don't recommend it. Do recommend it for lubricant purposes, though. And the final thing that you have is some 320 grit abrasive on a flat surface. So we'll use those things to replace our tuning tip. Tip wrench. If you have not already done so with your extension in the CyberHammer, remove your old tuning tip if that's not already off. So we'll have a tuning tip here for demonstration purposes. The kit does not include a tuning tip. Okay, so first let's get started. What I want to do is clip off with my cutters just this little end here. So I'm going to clip it off like this. Okay. Now I'm going to take the bearings out. And I don't have to do this, but yeah, this, we're going to recycle that or dispose of it. And this is now my applicator for lubricant. Okay. So, digital caliper. Oversized. Nominal. Spec measurement, 125 thousandths. I'm going to set this 125 over here. And this is also an oversized by a little bit. All right. Now what we're going to do is start with the nominal bearing, the 125 thousandths bearing. I'm going to put this on the extension just like so. And notes on fit. I want this bearing to rotate freely or with just a little bit of friction on the extension. Then I'm going to put it into the CyberHammer itself on the side that says Rayburn, once again. And I'm going to set it in here. And I want it to move freely or with just a little bit of friction in here as well. If I have to just push it in and it doesn't move freely in the head, that's fine as long as it rotates freely on the extension or vice versa. If it doesn't rotate super freely on the extension, but it does rotate freely on the head, just as long as it's rotating freely on one or the other. Okay. So if this is super tight and you have to press it in, it will actually compress the interior diameter, believe it or not, and it will tighten it up on the extension. No good. All right, so we have good fit on both these. This is the 125 thousandths. Let's put the extension in. I'm going to put the back cap on. And the torque spec for this is finger snug. Just that much. Does not have to be tight at all. Does not have to be tight. This takes very little to no tension. There's very little to no torque on this. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, I'm going to actually go ahead right now at this stage, put my tuning tip on, and torque spec on this is just a little bit tighter than your tightest tuning pin. Okay? You don't have to reef on this. In fact, it's not good if you do. Okay, so fitting. I've got just a little bit of up and down play. I can feel it. It's a little bit wigglier than I like. Up and down. In and out play, I'm probably more concerned about actually, because that actually contributes to the up and down play. I apologize, I'm moving the camera there. Okay, a little bit of up and down play. I don't like that so much as the in and out play. I'm more concerned about the in and out. Now, once again, fit notes on this. Now I can absolutely tune a piano with this. This is not a fit that I would complain at all on the tuning pin. When you are tuning with the balance drive mechanism, take this off and show you the function. Part of the reason this system works so well is that, I get a reflection on there so you can see the whole thing. There we go. As this is rotating, it reaches its end of travel and it locks up and self-aligns. So this is going to transmit the feel of what the tuning pin is doing, and it's going to transmit the mechanical energy of this weight. It's going to transmit that absolutely. Pardon me. It's going to transmit that absolutely perfectly through this system, even if it's got some slop in the system. So you're going to be able to feel what it's doing, unlike a rigid lever. If you had that kind of slop in a rigid lever, it would be unusable. But this system is designed to have free play in it. That's how it works. So if it does have some looseness in it, I would absolutely tune a piano with that feel. No problem. In fact, the CyberHammer that I just graduated from, which was an older model, I do use my current tools. I tuned many pianos with a CyberHammer that was dramatically looser than that. So the 125 thousandths we decided is a little bit too small for this. The way this system works is the larger the bearing, the more it's going to move this out, and the more tight the back cap is going to be. So we want this total length between the inside of the bearing and the inside of the back cap to basically equal this distance to this distance. All right, so here we go. We've got, let's try the biggest size one that we have now. 100. Okay, there it is. That's the 132. Put that on. Once again, check for fit. Yep, that's nice and smooth. Rotates great. There we go. Same thing there. And it goes. And screw this right down. Just finger tight, finger snug, not even finger tight. Ooh, that's way too tight. That's way too tight. Now, here, you can see that, here, I'm bumping the camera again. It falls under its own weight, but it's like a really controlled fall. It's a restricted fall under its own weight. Yeah, that's way too tight. We're not going to tune a piano with that. No, thank you. So let's try the one, if your kit has these two front bearings, the oversized ones may be very close to the same size. If your kit does have one that's just a little bit thinner, that's the next thing to try. So this one, 127, 127 and a half, 128, somewhere in that range. That's where this one is. This is not the most, this isn't a $500 micrometer. You don't need one. Okay. This can be approached the same way as replacing a center pin. And this process requires the same basic skills that you as a piano technician have as your stock and trade. Okay. And those three skills are patience, attention to detail, and hand skills. So if you're a piano technician working in the field, this is absolutely something you should be able to do. Okay, so this feels really good. It might be just a little bit too tight. Just a little bit too tight. If I just squeeze it with my fingertips here, it won't quite turn. I can turn it with my fingertips, but it's a little bit difficult. I'm not really thrilled with that yet. I would absolutely tune a piano with that, but it's still not quite where I want it. So we're going to take this back cap out again, set the CyberHammer down. Don't shake the camera. Thank you. I'll set this down. And now we'll set that aside. Use our abrasive. Just set one side down on the abrasive flat pad. And I'm going to use two fingers and just make some gentle circles. About 10 circles. Really gently. And I might even, rotate it a little bit while I'm doing this so I'm not putting pressure on the same spot. Clean off any dust that we've created. Remeasure just to see what we did. All right, we've taken it down about 1/1000th of an inch. And when we're working in feel measurements, just the same as replacing a center pin, thousandths of an inch can definitely make a feel difference in terms of friction. Come on, there we go. Okay, oh, okay. That's a different story. That has some friction. But when I put it on a tuning pin, it's not friction that I can really feel resisting me. And also note that when you're tuning with this, you go through a couple days tuning with this, it's going to loosen up just a little bit for the first couple days tuning. So I'd rather have it be just a smidge on the tight side than shave off too much material and then have to go back to your larger size bearing. But if you do that, that's why we include 3 bearings with this kit. And then say I then overshoot with this bearing as well, that comes down to 100,000ths or something like that. Because I'm a major overachiever, I've still got my 125,000ths bearing that I could throw in there, and the tool's perfectly usable with that. Okay, so this is a good fit. I like what I'm feeling here. I'm going to one more time take this back cap off, back screw out, take the back cap off, out you come. There we go. There we go. Now let's take the bearings that we did not decide to use, put them aside. We don't want them anywhere near us. Clear off our workspace. And we're going to use our purpose-built applicator. Now I'm going to use this lighter colored pointer tool again here because we're working on a black surface and it's easier to show. Now, there we go. This surface here, this bearing surface, needs to have a thin film of lubricant. This back bearing surface, there's the reflection, that can have a thin film of lubricant as well. In addition, this is the same concept as applying glue to both surfaces of 2 pieces of wood that we're clamping together. I also like to have a thin film of lubricant on this round surface here and this flat bearing surface here. So let's do it. Now, less is more. Here's just a little glob, just a little bit, and once around it's going to get both these surfaces. Now this will get worked around, so we don't have to worry about this too much. The mechanism has 45 degrees of play, so I want to put at least on every 4 corners. At least on every 4 corners. If you get a little bit into the bore, no big deal. All right, there we go. If you get a little bit outside the hammer, on the outside area, no big deal. We'll just wipe it off. Okay, and we're just going to move it around, get it in there. Once again, I believe I've already said less is more. We don't need a lot of this. Too much isn't going to hurt anything, but it's not going to help anything either. Okay, and then we're going to do the bearing itself, this interior surface, whoop, and the flat sides. You don't need to do the outer surface, just the interior bore, the interior diameter, the flat surface, and the flat surface. Okay, so let's put this back on the extension. I'm going to make use of our paper towel on my fingers. Put this in. Once again, this goes in the side with the word Rayburn engraved. And the reason for that, and you can visually see it is angled downward by 5 degrees. That's because a piano tuning pin on a vertical piano is angled up at the same angle. And we want the radius to be parallel to the pin block and perpendicular to gravity so we can move it easily. All right, so there we go. We're going to put the back cap screw in. There we go. Go on. There we go. Get that thread started. And the other reason why we want just a little bit more friction is because when we put the lubricant on there, it smooths things up just a little bit. There we go. I like it. That's really nice. Okay, so that's all there is to it. We're completely done. I'm going to wipe this off, get any extra grease up and off of there, dispose of my zip tie. I'll probably keep these guys in reserve for the future and clean up my work area. That's all there is to replacing the 700 series CyberHammer extension. If you have a 200 series CyberHammer, the process is very similar or identical. The only difference is that there's really no fitting. It drops in and there's no front bearing. The back bearing is a slightly different screw, although it's the same thread, but slightly different screw, slightly different back cap. And here's a quick example of it. 200 series screw and back cap. But those parts are actually interchangeable. Yep. That's the full process. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great success with putting in your 700 series extension replacement, and I hope you have a great time using your CyberHammer. Have a great day.